Who else wishes you'd invested in Zoom shares before the COVID-19 lockdown hit? And imagine you'd got in when everyone thought Facebook was just a fad. You'd be drinking margaritas from your Caribbean beach house right now. After all, David Coe chose to take shares instead of cash for painting the walls of the Facebook office back in 2005, and now those shares are worth $200 million. In this video, I'm going to share with you my 3 guiding rules for investing and building your first million. Hi, I'm Claire, money coach and qualified financial advisor. For the last 14 years, I've been working in the financial services sector, and I run a successful financial services business. I'm here to help you walk into wealth, enriched, empowered and excited. I've built my dream life, and now I'm going to help you build yours. And remember, if you have any questions, post them below, because at the end of each video, I answer one viewer's question. Okay, let's get on with today's show. Investing is something that will make you a lot of money, right? Well, no, not always. Loads of companies fail, and even those that do become successful can take years to get there. But with the right strategy, we can all build a sizable pot of our own. One thing that I hear all the time is that investing is a major risk. Why would you want to do that? The truth is, it's all about risk and reward. If you take no risk at all and leave your money in a basic savings account, you're likely to get paid interest at about 0.01% per year, which means for every £1,000 you have sitting in savings, you'll get £1 interest a year. It's not likely to be much of a problem for your short-term savings, like cash tucked away for this year's tax bill or your emergency fund for when your boiler goes or your car needs new brakes. The problem is that longer term, if you leave your money in a basic savings account, its value will be eroded by inflation. So you end up having less and less buying power in the future. Okay, so let's have a bit of fun. Time to own up. What do you wish you'd invested in? Yes, you might be showing your age here, but hey, that's okay. Or have you ever invested in shares? And if you haven't, what stopped you? I'd love to know. Please share it in the comments below this video. So let's talk inflation. This is an important concept to grasp because it affects us every day. In a nutshell, inflation is a measure of how much things cost this year compared to last year. It's usually between 2 and 3% a year. It only looks lower in 2020 because the shops have been shut and we haven't been buying anything. But what does this really mean? But let's take an example with chocolate, one of my favourite pleasures after gin. Remember when you were a teenager and a Mars bar was just 35p? Or your parents' house that they bought for 60,000 is now worth 300,000. It's that. What you can actually buy with your money. So that money you want for the medium to long-term future, at least 5 to 10 years from now, needs to be invested, letting it grow in a way that beats inflation and turns your hard-earned cash into something useful. So how do you invest your money safely? Let's look at my 3 guiding rules to follow to get you started on your path to your first million. Rule 1, diversify. Basically, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Yes, you could pick the next Microsoft, but equally, you could pick the next Betamax video. Aim to invest in 65 to 100 different companies, more if possible, so that if one fails, you don't lose all your money. And ensure your shares are not just UK based. The easiest way to do this is to use a collective investment. These are funds that contain a wide range of shares, bonds, exposure to rental property, and all sorts of other things, so you buy the shares in the fund. This fund will either be actively managed with a fund manager choosing what will be inside, or will be passively managed, like an index tracker which follows the movement of a specific index, like the FTSE 100. By buying shares in a range of popular companies, largely controlled by computer, and they're available with different combinations of components, so you can take more or less risk with your money depending on your personal preference. Rule 2, choose the right wrapper. So you've now decided what you're going to invest in and you need a wrapper for your fund. Although you can hold them in a simple investment account, this means you'll be paying more tax than you need to, either now or in years to come. So most people use either a pension or an ISA wrapper for their investments. A pension will give you tax relief on your contributions. Every £100 you put in has £25 added by HMRC. But you can't have the money until you're 55. And honestly, if you see anything that says you can, it is a scam. When the time comes for you to take money from your pension, you will have to pay tax on some of it. An ISA has no upfront tax relief, but any money you take from it is tax-free in the future. So you can use an ISA to top up your pension or earned income without paying any more tax. And you can also take the money out before 55. Although, like all investments, because of the volatile stock market over the short term, it's always advisable to leave the money for at least 5 to 10 years before you look to withdraw it. And you know how the statutory working goes. Not a reliable indicator of future growth, and you may get back out less than you put in. But if you look at the past, from 1925 to 2018, there is a general upwards trend over the long term. We're almost there. Keep watching for my rules on investing safely. But first, if you're still with me, can you take 2 seconds to hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up? It really helps keep me motivated to bring you helpful content. Rule 3. Start as early as you can. The sooner you start, the longer your money has to grow, even if it's just a small amount, £100 or so you regularly pay in each month. It also means you can take advantage of unit price going up and down, buying more when the price is low and less when the prices are higher, which over the long term is more successful than trying to time the market and work out when prices will be low. Like the old saying goes, it's not about timing the market, it's about time in the market. Just £100 a month invested in a fund growing at 7% a year, quite typical for an index tracker, is likely to get you around £123,000 in 30 years' time. And if you invested £240 a month for your child until they were 18, and then they pay at £180 a month from then onwards, they could retire with a pot of around £1 million. It's all to do with compounding and reinvesting of dividends, which means you can build up quite a sizable sum over time. Now, don't panic if your pension pot is empty. There are still loads of options open to you, even if you've never got round to setting up a pension or thinking about how you will pay for your living costs in retirement. I'm not here to make you feel bad, but can you afford to keep ignoring this area of your finances? Starting in your 30s or 40s, you can still end up with a decent pot for retirement. You just need to put in a bit more each month to catch up. To open a pension or a stocks and shares ISA, you can go online and use a reputable self-managed platform, or you can get help from a qualified financial advisor like me. It's important to make sure that you have the right product at the right risk level for your needs, whichever path you choose. Remember, this is money that you need to tie up for at least 5 years. It's long-term growth, not get rich quick. So if you are going to start investing, it's crucial to make sure you're building yourself an emergency fund as well, with cash to hand when you need it. Okay, time for today's Ask Claire question. And it comes from Sarah, who asks, if I save loads of money, will I have to pay loads of tax? This is why it's so important to choose the right wrapper for your investment, because it affects whether you pay tax when you come to take the money out. For example, you don't pay any tax when taking money out of an ISA, and with a pension, some is tax-free and you pay tax on some of the rest. So it's all about striking a balance so that you don't pay any more tax than you need to. I hope this has helped you take one step closer to that life you really want. So keep watching.